Sup, and welcome to the first ever Library Chess Productions old movie review. So in this, I'm going to be reviewing movies that have anniversaries coming up. It has to be significant, like 10, 15, 20, 25, 50, 60, 70, not like 13 or 23. I'm going to try to keep it simple in that way. And I'm not going to be reviewing every single movie that has an anniversary coming, just ones that are kind of interesting to me, or movies that I haven't seen. It gives me a good excuse to watch an older movie. And I'm not going to call this classic movie reviews, because not everything I review is going to be a classic, so I just think it's easier maybe to just call it old, so I can avoid that whole argument of what's a classic and what's not. So to kick things off, I'm going to go back to 1993 with Mike Leigh's Naked. A movie that I've been meaning to watch for a long time because I've never really seen a Mike Leigh movie, and I hear this one's really good. So I got my Luigi. Let's do this. Okay, so this gets serious right from the beginning. The main character, Johnny, is shown raping a girl right at the beginning, and he gets out of there and goes elsewhere, and he starts drifting around, and he goes to his ex-girlfriend's house, and basically he's just kind of talking to strangers most of the movie. There's technically a plot, but most of the time you're just kind of watching Johnny take the piss, which is actually not as bad as it sounds, because the script is on point here, at least in the dialogue. Johnny is not a likable character at all, but yet listening to him talk, because he's intelligent and the things he says when he's taking the piss, they're clever and they're snappy. So I was never really bored when I was listening to him talk to people, and there was certain conversations that were really great. I wouldn't say they're profound, but they were certainly intriguing enough to keep me going. And the relationships between everybody were interesting enough that I never really found the movie boring. And I say that the relationships are built well, and that's despite Johnny's character, who is basically abrasive and sarcastic and mean almost the entire movie. Well, pretty much, yeah, the entire movie. And I don't require a likable character or any likable characters. There's a few. The women mostly are likable. But I don't require a likable character to enjoy a movie. I just need them to be interesting. David Thewlis, I probably pronounced that weirdly because for some reason I'm having a hard time getting that out of my mouth. He does a really good job here. His praises were sung long ago, long before this video, and I'm just repeating them here. But it really is a standout role. And I mean, the script was great, and the stuff that he had to say was great, but he really brought this character to life. And he took an unsympathetic character and almost made me care about what happened, but you couldn't really get to that point because there was too much shoveled onto him for me to actually like the character. So by the end of it, I feel he deserves any crap that he gets. But that's not a criticism of the movie. That's just the nature of who he is and the plot and what Mike Leigh was trying to accomplish here. And if you haven't seen this movie and don't know what it's about, it's very unpleasant. There's some occasional brutality here, not in terms of violence, just some really uncomfortable stuff that will probably turn off some people. But, I mean, to Mike Leigh's credit, it was interesting, and I keep going back to the word interesting, but that's the best thing I can say about it, because I'm not going to say, oh, it was great, because there's no way that you can make something as sickening as rape great. But, I mean, it was intentionally sickening. It proved the point of who these characters are. It's not a flawless movie, though. Despite its status, I think there are some problems here, and it comes mostly in the form of this character, Jeremy, who is the other male destructive force. He kind of represents the upper class, whereas Johnny's obviously lower class, but they're similar people in a lot of ways. And near the beginning of the movie, he's rarely there, but at the end, he actually shows up, and nothing that fascinating really happens with him, and that's kind of a low point of the movie. Like, it sucks that the last maybe 30 minutes or so is the low point of the movie, except for the ending, the actual ending, the final scene. I like that quite a bit, but leading up to that was a little rough. So with all that said, what am I going to give it? Well, I'm definitely giving it the business. And I give it the business as opposed to quoting it on the daily, because while I did quite enjoy it, I wasn't as in love with it as a lot of other people. If I had seen it back in 1993, I would have been like, well, first of all, I would have been like 8, so that would have been problematic. If I was smart enough to comprehend what I was seeing, I don't think I would have necessarily followed Mike Leigh on his career. Now, being older, I will go and I will eventually watch some more of his movies. But yeah, it's definitely worth watching. So if you're in the mood for something that's old, but, you know, not too old because it's only 1993, and you want to watch something that's uncomfortable, then you should definitely check out Naked. That's it for the first ever LCP old movie review. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm not going to kick it to Castle this time because I didn't want him to watch anything like that. He's only like 1 year old. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm ending it with the best bunny critic in the biz. See ya.
So, actually, he's sleeping, so maybe I won't ask him what he thinks. But yes, he is sleeping in his litter box, as rabbits often do.